Hello, welcome to something a little different. I the patch notes for the upcoming patch are out now for Monster Train, and I decided that I wanted to make a video just reviewing the patch notes. Give you, if you don't know about them, because this is on the Monster Train subreddit, I'm not sure it's anywhere else. Just so you can, it's probably on Steam and you can look around, right? But I figured I'd make a video on it. I want to go over the changes they're making real quick. I'm going to skim through this. It's not going to be a super long video. Probably, just going to talk about the major changes. I'm not going to read out like the balance strategy or things like that. But I thought it'd be, it'd be cool to go through this. Something a little different. And here we go. This was released 2 hours ago. I'm recording this. It's about 2 p.m. Eastern time, so I believe this patch is going live on the 15th, and you can now opt into the beta, which I'll be doing for videos going forward. So without any further ado, let's get to it. So first of all, some major changes. These are things that are like these are like gameplay changes overall. They're adding mutators, which are like run effects. I guess like affixes kind of. It's the same thing as like the modifiers in Slay the Spire, from what I understand. I haven't played with any of them, but I think it's like the daily challenge mutators. And now you can put them on your regular runs as well, instead of just having them available on the daily challenges. Something I'm pretty interested in here is the 15 expert challenges to test your skills. I imagine these are going to be similar to like Binding of Isaac challenge runs, which are pretty cool. I love challenge run ideas like this, where it's like, here's a wacky combo, now make this work, right? As long as it's not anything like the crazy ultra hard challenge, the ultra hard challenge. The reason that I haven't 100% at Isaac yet, and never will. Card mastery frames, cool. Community challenge, also cool. And then a bunch of balance changes, which we're going to get into. If you want to get into the public test beta, you can do it here. Here's the instructions. I'll also have a link to this thread in the description down below. Feel free to go check that out so you can read through these yourself. If we go down here, so this is balance strategy, how to provide feedback, things like that. You can read that yourself. I'm just going to get into the balance changes, and I haven't read through these yet. I've read through a few of these, but like only like the first few of them, and I want to just give my reaction, my thoughts, how do I feel, and such. So starting out, clanless advanced prototype now gives +5/+5 to train stewards on top of everything else. Sure. This isn't gonna make me go, oh yeah, Train Steward is now going to clutch my run, but it's a nice benefit. I might consider taking this now on like floor 3 if it's offered, and then keeping in like 2 Train Stewards just for the effect, right? Because having them do 20 damage is a meaningful amount. Rail spikes go from 5x to 10x. This change doesn't matter. You have to still play it at a lot of energy to hit the different breakpoint, right? Because so the way that it works, right, you look at the game in breakpoints. The first breakpoint is 1 health, then it's 2 health, then it's 3 health, then it's 5 health. What do these breakpoints mean? It's just the point where that object kills an enemy. So at 1 energy, Rail Spikes kills a single backline enemy at 5 damage or at 10 damage. And to hit the next breakpoint, because after 5, it's like, I guess 10 to kill a purifier, but that's super niche. This isn't a breakpoint that matters a whole lot. I guess this change mostly just makes it so that if you pick Rail Spikes, you'll be able to play it at 1 energy and always kill anything that Seraph throws at you. But after that, the breakpoints are like 40 for first floor heavies, and then 45, and then it's like there's also like the tanks, which are at 35, right? But like the break, I do my breakpoints mostly as just like major enemies. Normal heavies 45 health, 105 health. If you have that breakpoint, you have the other breakpoints. It's like 45, 105, and 190. You're not going to be playing Rail Spikes at 19 energy, and you're also not going to be playing Rail Spikes at 38 energy. So I think this change does not change my feelings of Rail Spikes. Gift of Gratitude goes from 30x to 40x. Sure. Cool. Right on. More money is good. Increased status effect stacks maximums from 999 to 9999. So that's nice. Requested for Frostbite. Sure. It doesn't make a difference. Like this is the thing that was pointed out to me when I last complained about this, which is that it doesn't matter. If you stack to 1,000, you're killing everything in the game anyway. Doesn't matter if you're stacking to 1,000 or 10,000. I guess in theory, stacking above 1,000 is important if you're playing a strategy where you have no units and need to kill Seraph in 4 rounds, but like, don't do that. Iron Dropcage triggers even if the unit cannot move if it's in the bottom floor and you cast a Drip Fall on it. Cool. Sweet. Like, really nice. Iron Dropcage also now triggers on flying bosses before the Relentless phase. Alright. I did fall victim to trying that out, and, you know, the old holdover on Ascension, oh, this doesn't work. Iron Dropcage dazed from 3 to 2 since it's much easier to trigger. I would argue, I mean, I guess it's fine because they made it trigger on the flying bosses, but being able to drip fall bottom floor enemies does not make it that much easier to trigger. Really. Like, it really doesn't. That's it. Like, the only situation is if you're descending a unit on the bottom floor. How often are you doing that? Most Blessed Sword damage increased from 10x to 30x. Okay, Blessed Sword is the card that does 10x damage to everyone on the floor, and it's piercing. Up to 30x, it's okay, right? This is a change that is probably meaningful. It's not going to one-shot anything, but because it's a consume card, you're probably going to be using it to finish off a weakened heavy. So, yeah. I mean, it's no secret that most Blessed Sword is weak compared to the other two options. However, I feel like in most situations, just pick the Skull if you're trying to use this to kill big boys. 10x to 30x doesn't change its rate of killing anything in the back, and since it's an AoE, you typically use this to... I've always looked at most Blessed Sword as this clears all of the small units with the added benefit of clearing tanks, if there are any, one time, which is fine. But take the Skull usually anyway, or the damage shield. New status effect, Fragile. If an affected unit takes any damage to their health, they die. This appears in several new mutators. Okay, that's a mutator effect. I'm not going to comment too much on the mutators because that doesn't affect the balance of the vanilla game too much. And yeah, you know, like, cool. Right on. Revenge triggers now happen when a unit takes lethal damage and dies. Sweet. Oh, baby. Hot Shark just got like 10 times better. What the hell? My man was already... They must have nerfed him in the Stygian gameplay changes, I'm sure of it. But like, who buddy? Alright. The Holiest Shield damage shield stacks reduced from 3x to 2x. Alright. I mean, you still would just put double stack on it and auto win 2 combats. Cool. Volatile Gauge random ember cost increased from 0 to 3 to 0 to 4. Volatile Gauge had the highest win rate of any artifact in the game at high Covenant levels. Is this a fair change? No, this is ugh. It's fine. I think that a better change would have been 1 to 3 if they wanted to nerf it, because 0 to 4 means that if you get this as your starter, you probably just can't pick it anymore, which is sad. Because the problem now is if you pick Volatile Gauge as your starting relic and you pick up a unit on, you pick up your unit draft on the between from 4-1 to 4-2, you draw your first turn, your unit draft costs 4, you just lost the game. I guess I made a case where you can draw through the deck so quickly that you'll get to see it again, hopefully before the end of the combat, but by then it may be too much. I don't like that they're nerfing this, but I understand. They're nerfing based on win rate, and Volatile Gauge is very highly consistent, but I don't know. It's fine. Wingsteel card draw reduced from 2 to 1. That's a shame. So those are the clanless changes. I don't know if I can figure out how to separate this. I've seen people separating videos into chapters. I'll try to separate this into clanless, hellhorned, awoken, Stygian. All in all, clanless changes. It's weird because the buffs that they're making are meaningless, except for I think the most strong buff here is probably to Iron Dropcage, and all of the nerfs they're making are really tough, right? The Volatile Gauge nerf hurts, the Wingsteel nerf hurts. But it's fine. It's just, there's so much. This hurts the number of ways to draw in the game, and there's already so few. Anyway, up next, Hellhorned gameplay changes. First off, Alpha Fiend attack on strike increased from 3 to 5, health increased from 20 to 25. Now here's a buff that I was hoping to see. My man, Alpha Fiend. 5 attack instead of 3 is a huge change. That's a lot. And also 5 more health makes him not get killed so easily in the early game. I think Alpha Fiend, I'm not going to say I think he's a I think he's much more pickable now with these buffs, but I'm not sure. I'm still not sure if he's good enough. I'll have to see. The problem is, and this is always the problem I face with Alpha Fiend. Alpha Fiend fits in this weird place in Hellhorned where he doesn't kill heavies very well, which is something you need from your units because, but like he also doesn't kill tanks very well, right? So what does Alpha Fiend do? I don't know. He's bad at frontlining because his health is so low. Although at 25, he's now not terrible. But you can't give him large stone, right? This is the big asterisk. He cannot get a large stone. If you give him a large stone, you can't put anything else on the floor with him. Which means that he has to take plus 25. I think that his ideal is probably like plus 25 and multi-strike, and you just slap him in front because he might be able to soften enemies up for your Hornbreaker Prince to get a kill. Or alternatively, I guess you're putting him behind the Rage Armor Prince, and that's going to be your scaling up plan for the Relentless Combat, because that's where he really shines, is Relentless Combat's where he gets to go like 10, 15 rounds. So maybe this is a good change. I'll give him a few different chances, but I'm not super hopeful about him. Deranged Brute bonus attack per stack of Rage increased from 2 to 3. This doesn't change the fact that I think Rage is still kind of bad, but, you know, fine. Sure. Hornbreaker Prince's Wrathful Path Rage on Revenge increased from 1 to 2 at level 1 and goes up from there. Also, sure. I felt that the level 1 Wrathful Prince felt very weak because his rage doesn't increase in Relentless Combats, it just stays the same, which is a major weakness, so this makes that better. One Horn's Tome Ember cost increased from 5 to 6. I knew this change was coming, someone told me about this change, and you hate to see it. You just hate to see it, because now you can't take, I guess what you have to do now with One Horn's Tome, what they forced out of you with One Horn's Tome is you go to the shop, or you get One Horn's Tome from your boss combat, you take an energy relic, and then you have to go to a magic shop and double Ember Reduction it to make it playable. The change that I would have preferred to see, which would have been effectively the same, is just double stack no longer applies to One Horn's Tome. Because what they're doing here is they're essentially making it so that you can't double stack this card anymore. The only way you get to double stack this is if you have crazy energy generation, or you have some sort of a lightstone casing, right, to get an extra upgrade in there. Maybe you give it to the winged guy to make it free. I don't know. It's a fine. I guess they wanted to nerf One Horn's Tome, and they did. Ritual of Battle Rage gain increased from 6 to 8. I still don't think that's a good card. I think that would have to give 12 baseline for me to consider it. But then if it gave 12 baseline, it would be broken with double stack. Maybe 8. Like maybe Ritual Battle. 8 rage, you get double stack on it. 16 rage is plus, what, that's plus 20, that's plus 32 attack. That's a lot of attack. As it is, plus 16 attack is a reasonable number. Maybe it's better, but I don't know. It's too expensive, honestly. It's just too expensive. It's hard for me to see playing that card at 3 energy, but you can give it -1s, so maybe it's okay. Right, maybe 2 -1s and then that card's playable, and it's not too hard to get that. Alright, I'll give it a try. Welder Helper armor gain increased from 15 to 20. This is, of all of the changes I've seen so far, this is the one that made me go, what? No way. Right? Because what? No way. They're really buffing Welder Helper? My man's already nuts. Cool. Right on, Welder Helper. That's the end of Hellhorn. Only 6 changes. Overall, Hellhorn changes, like, Alpha Fiend changes are cool, the Range Brutes, whatever. One Horn sucks, Ritual of Battle's cool. Most of these changes are fine. The One Horn's change makes me a little sad. On to Awoken. Alright. So, Awoken gets Awake regen decreased from 4 to 3. Why? Why? What? Okay, sure. Alright. I wasn't really feeling like Awake is a nuts card out of control. I gotta... Alright, fine. Sure. I suppose, I mean, I'm still gonna pick it, because regen is such a premium. Cycle of Life spikes reduced from 4 to 3. What? This is a change that I read, and it just makes me think of like a League of Legends patch notes where they're like, alright, Caitlyn's performing too well. We're gonna make her attack damage start at 63 instead of 64. Like, except Caitlyn's one of the worst characters in the game at the point that they make that change. What I mean by this analogy is that who picks Cycle of Life for the 4 spikes? Who in the world is going cycle of life? Oh yeah, baby, give me that 4 spikes. If it's you, please tell me. I would love to hear that. But like, what? This is another change that shocks me. Husk Hermit attack increased from 3 to 5. All this does is this makes Husk Hermit better against Sap Seraph. Every other, like, this change doesn't make a big difference. Like I said, there's that breakpoint of 5 attack. I guess it's better against Chase. No, Chase doesn't have any 5 health backliners. The only backliner that doesn't get caught by 3 health but gets caught by 5 health is the Shade Wings. But the Shade Wings, you're not going to be killing them with exactly 5 attack because you enter with 3 sap. This is a change that's fine though. Like, sure, more attack is cool. It doesn't change much else in the game though, unless like you're not scaling up Husk Hermit like crazy. Pyrogrow redesigned. Now it causes you to draw 2 fewer cards next turn and gain +1 Ember per turn for the rest of battle. Yeah, that's a good change. I mean, Pyrogrow's unplayable in its current state. Missing 2 draws is important, so this is like if you draw this later in the deck, it's good, and if you draw this earlier in the draw cycle, it's bad. But you know, you're guaranteed to draw through your units anyway every turn, so playing this early would be fine. It seems it's much better than current Pyrogrow, but basically everything would be better than current Pyrogrow. The card was unpickable in every circumstance. And this is good. Sure, I like it. Razor Sharp Edge attack gain increased from 8 to 10. Okay. Razor Sharp Edge was fine at 8, so at 10 it's even better. Like, it's already a card you pick, so now you pick it and go, cool. Right on. I guess it's better for units that don't have multi-strike now, but it's, you know, any attack, like, units without multi-strike, not really what you want to be putting Razor Sharp Edge on anyway. I think the biggest thing that this changes is, like, it changes your breakpoints when you're stuck with Razor Sharp Edge in your opening deck and you're playing Awoken main, and so your plan is just to take a bunch of damage from the boss. Now you can give your champion maybe +20 attack, which will make her just beat the shit out of Chains of the Sighted. So that's cool. Shattered Shell attack gain on Slay increased from 2 to 3. Sure. Maybe with this change, Shattered Shell is going to be able to solo carry runs as your main damage source. I'm skeptical. I think that he requires a lot of work to get to that point, but like I think he requires a level of commitment that's too high. I think you're better just giving him +10 and a quick and slapping him down to clear backline for you. But that's cool. It helps him scale up against Sap Seraph as well, which is nice. Fine. Sentient Explosive Path goes from 15 to 20 at level 1, 30 to 40 at level 2. Sure. Right on. I have heard your comments. Many people from the stream and from YouTube have said they think that I undervalue the Explosive Path. This is the path of regen, if you're uncertain. And I don't undervalue it, I just don't think it's as good as Spikes. With this change, do I think it's as good as Spikes? Nah, no. Because this path answers heavies for you, which maybe I should be a little more grateful for, I guess. But the problem I find is that the early 2 combats often just make you take an irrecoverable amount of damage if you don't draw your heals on the turn that the boss spawns. And I don't like that. But I'll admit, maybe I value it a little lower. That's fine. Vine Mother's health increased from 20 to 40. Vine Mother is the sting unit, in case you've forgotten. Now she generates stings on top of being a viable tank. Cool. This is a change that makes a lot of sense. The unit is unpickable. Now she's just a rare tank with a minor benefit. You can pick Vine Mother without having a sting synergy now. You can pick her to just be your frontline if she's offered, which is fine. Wilting Sapwood attack increased from 5 to 15. This is another one of those changes. See my comments about Cycle of Life. Who fucking cares? Who in the world cares? Oh, good. Wilting Sapwood now does 15 damage. So? What? Again, like, this is just why? Like, okay, cool. Right? This is a buff, but this changes nothing. I do not... They could... Wilting Sapwood, I'm not about to go into my next run and go, oh, thank God, Wilting Sapwood has 15 attack, now I can pick it. Like, no. You should have a better plan for killing heavies than Wilting Sapwood doing 15 with your backline. Maybe this helps push a few units in the early game over the kill point, but like, come on. You're probably not having Wilting Sapwood that early anyway. Like, it's weird to buff rare cards because they're so inconsistently seen anyway that changes to them make such a small amount of impact on me. Anyway, onwards to Stygian. We got Gifts for a Guard Ember cost increased from 2 to 3. Like, fucking rip, dude. That's really unfortunate. Sorry to see you go, Gifts for a Guard. Glacial Seal Ember cost increased from 1 to 2. What? Am I reading a patch note where they just nerfed the fucking Frostbite Totem? What? Who? I just. What on earth are you? What in the world is this? Alright. 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 I see the upcoming changes. Like, I see some of the changes down the line that are gonna make me go, oh, but I just want to laugh at Glacial Seal for a moment longer. I didn't really talk too much about the Gifts for a Guard change, but I think that makes the card not unplayable, right? You just have to give it 2 -1s, but it wasn't really taking anything else anyway. I was having fun doing like Gifts for a Guard with a -1 and holdover, and this is no longer doable, I think. Like, this nerf hurts, and I don't think Gifts for a Guard was that broken anyway. So, you know, whatever. Sure. Guardian Amulet Sap decreased from 3 to 2. This is another one of the changes that I already knew about. It got teased somewhere and someone told me about it. Fine. Sure. I don't really use Guardian Amulet that much anyway, so, you know, it's fine. You don't want to pay 3 energy for 2 sap, so I guess that this really makes you want to discard it, but, like, sure, right? That's all I can really say. Fine. If they want to change that, they can. It doesn't impact me very much. -4 instead of -6 is whatever. Hoarfrost Effigy Ember cost increased from 2 to 3. I hate that the nerfs they're doing to Stygian here are just increasing Ember costs like crazy, because it just feels like shit. It just feels bad. I know that there's not much they can do to things like Gifts for a Guard or Hoarfrost Effigy, but it feels bad. I guess I would have rather seen Gifts for a Guard if they wanted to nerf it, make it draw 2 cards instead of 3. Because having just to pay more energy for cards feels like shit. Like, it really doesn't feel good. I hate it. But I guess, right? Sure. I don't think Hoarfrost Effigy was overperforming. I think it was a super niche card. I've used it like once to good effect, but one of the few cards in the game that can actively hurt you if you're trying to play it on Seraph and it clears Frostbite that would have killed a unit. I think that with a change like this, I would have liked it to just say double Frostbite on a unit instead of clear Frostbite on everyone and then double the amount of Frostbite on a targeted unit. Because this card now feels unplayable. It was already hard to play at 2 energy, I think. I guess you can just double -1 it. Right? Most of these changes that you're seeing here are just like, yeah, just double -1 it. Alright, and now the change I've been dreading. I knew something like this was coming. I actually didn't think it was going to be this drastic, though. Lodestone Totem Ember cost increased from 1 to 3. They have actually made... They made Sap Totem unplayable. What the fuck? Like, they actually killed Sap Totem. Now, something I guess I should asterisk is I assume that these changes are subject to change. I assume that they're going to be in flux and they'll be tweaking things. I hope that they tweak Lodestone Totem back to 2 energy. Like, I know that they want to nerf it because it's a really, really strong pickup, but 3 energy makes the card unpickable. Like, you can't take that. Nameless Siren Rage gain increased from 1 to 2. Right on. Nameless Siren is now much better. I already thought she was okay in some situations, so now I think that she's pickable. Like, she's probably a strong choice in your early game. She can probably scale up to kill heavies pretty reasonably. I like that. And also, Siren of the Sea attack and health gain on Incant increased from 1/1 to 2/2. This is a change that, like, these 2 changes are changes that I feel like if I had to guess at changes, I would guess at these for sure, because these are obvious. These are good changes. Both of the Siren. Basically, I don't think there's a bad unit in Stygian now, except for Lodestone Totem. R.I.P. my man. And I guess Glacial Seal. They nerfed Glacial Seal, man. I can't get over that. I look back at it and I'm like, they really nerfed Frostbite Totem? Who picked that card? Alright. We talked about Glacial Seal. Moving on. Stygian Spike Frostbite amounts increased from 1x to 5x. Yeah, I mean, Stygian Spike's Frostbite was just there because, like, it was just a joke. Double stacking that card now makes it do 10x Frostbite, which is a reasonable amount. That's like upwards of 30 to 40 Frostbite. Cool. Titan's Gratitude damage increased from 25 to 30. I'm still not picking it. This is a change that only matters if you get Forced Titan's Gratitude in your starting deck, because, like, I would never pick that card. Stygian gameplay changes just make me sad. My closing thoughts on Stygian is just like, goodbye, Lodestone Totem. We had some good times. And, yo, like, hell yeah, the sirens are better. Umbra, here we go. Antumbra morsel health increased from 4 to 5. Health gain on eating increased from 3 to 4. Sure, I didn't think Antumbra morsel was struggling, but right on. I mean, 5 health is cool. He's going to be able to tank a lot more. With 1 more health gained on eating, sure. I guess he was probably the weaker of the morsels anyway. I'm really worried to read through these and see a Crucible Collector nerf. Crucible Warden health increased from 10 to 20, sure. Crucible Warden is the damage shield one if you're not sure. Crucible Warden is damage shield and Crucible Collector is lifesteal. Giving him plus 10 health is cool. He has a lot of trouble on like the first round where he just gets sniped sometimes before he can eat for damage shield, so that's cool. Emberforge capacity cost reduced from 4 to 3. I'm still not picking it. Like, nah. I still will not be picking Emberforge, but it's nice that they've walked that down. Just one more step and then make it give 1 energy and the card's probably playable. Furnace Tap Rage reduced from 4 to 3. What are some of these changes are just like, what are you doing? What? Why? Who plays Furnace Tap for the Rage? Alright. Alright. Sure. I guess. It's like, oh man, Furnace Tap's too strong, guys. We gotta hit the rage. I gotta not flame these changes too hard, because what if they watch this video and then go, alright, fucker, and then just make Furnace Tap cost 4 energy. They give it the One Horn's Tome treatment. Magma Morsel attack increased from 3 to 4, attack gain on eating increased from 3 to 4. So the Magma Morsel gaining a higher amount of attack doesn't matter. I think that's mostly just a flavor change. It doesn't push into any breakpoints. 3 to 4 makes no difference, but, plus 1 attack on eating is cool. Morsel Maker attack increased from 0 to 5, health increased from 10 to 15. Sure. Like, so these 3 buffs are like, wow, Morsel Maker's a lot better now. And I was starting to come around on Morsel Maker as a reasonable pickup, so this is sweet. Good job, Morsel Maker. You're much better now. Pushes him into like a decent pseudo attack position role. The only downside is if you go against Spikes, he might kill himself, but he shouldn't. I guess he'll kill himself if you don't give him any buffs and you take this floor 7 trial of Spikes 5, but no. Morsels that get eaten no longer count as deaths for harvest or other mechanics. This was the change that I saw, because this was being discussed in my Discord when I woke up, which is why I knew these changes were happening. I saw these were here, but this is a change that a lot of people went, oh, rip melting Umbra, or Umbra melting, right? And I saw this and I went, oh, sweet. Because this means that you're not going to harvest, you're not going to just lose to overcharge tanks on floor 5. I think that it's a very small price to pay to lose the synergy of eating morsels for gold, but the other side of this is or other mechanics. The real rip here is goodbye Fatal Melting, goodbye Memento Mori, right? Goodbye, oh god, Memories of the Melted just took a big blow. This is a change. If this works this way, which I assume it does because it just says they don't count as deaths. The sad thing here is that this is one of those things that nerfs wacky, out of control combos, right? On average, the change to harvest is fine, but there's that 1 in a million run where you get to Memories of the Melted. I've done it once, where you get to Memories of the Melted and then spike an energy morsel for like 55 energy, and then just morsel spike another morsel miner for like 1 million, right? And now that doesn't happen as often, or it doesn't happen as big because they nerfed the energy gain through morsel deaths, which is a shame, but I guess it's a small price to pay because that 1 in a million circumstance doesn't happen that often, and in exchange for that, you get, morsel. You don't just lose to overcharge tanks on floor 5 harvesting your 5 morsel deaths, which is fine. Sure. Penumbra's Glutton Path gains slightly more attack and health at levels 2 and 3. Because they don't have numbers, I can't really tell you anything about this. I didn't think Glutton was that bad. Buffs are fine. Makes Glutton a little better. Also, production Ember gain increased from 2 to 3. Oh, whoops. I haven't moved my mouse in so long that my monitors just went off. 1 second. There we go. I can't read. Perils of production Ember gain increased from 2 to 3. Sure. Right on. Shadow Eater Gorge damage and heal both increased from 5 to 10. I'm still not picking it. I still will not be taking Shadow Eater. The change in his numbers do not change all of the problems I have with Shadow Eater. I wrote a book in one of the comments about how much I hate Shadow Eater a little while ago. You can go look through the old Monster Train videos to try and find it. It's a reply to someone saying that Shadow Eater isn't that bad. This changes nothing. Shadow Eater is still a worthless piece of shit that I will never pick, and I hate him. Shadow Siege capacity increased from 5 to 6. This is the change. I knew that something like this was coming. This is the last change that anyone told me about. A change to Shadow Siege to nerf him. This is a change that is a product of one thing and one thing only, and it's nerfing based on win rates. Shadow Siege is getting nerfed because he has a very high win rate. Why does Shadow Siege have a very high win rate? Because you only pick Shadow Siege if you can play him. And if you can play him, he wins you the game. You don't blind pick Shadow Siege unless you have a Death Wish. So Shadow Siege has a very high win rate because he's only picked when he wins you the game. This nerf, I don't like it. I really don't like it. Because what does this change? Very little. And there's no reason for it, right? Shadow Siege is not a good unit. This is not a change that makes Shadow Siege a good unit. What Shadow Siege is a fun unit. He's a goofy unit. He does silly things. Occasionally you get to pick him. He's a meme, right? He's a meme card. Changing him because he has such a high win rate is ridiculous. Because he's a meme card, you only pick him when the meme works out. What I implore you to do is in your runs where you see Shadow Siege, just pick him and then lose the run and then tank his win rate. That's what we gotta do for our boy. Teeth of Gold damage to back unit increased from 2 to 3. Teeth of Gold is still shit. Nah. Like, just nah. Just nah. It's a breakpoint, right? Going from 2 to 3 is cool, but no. This changes very little. The biggest problem with Teeth of Gold is that there's a 1 in 3 chance if this is your main backline killing strategy that you just can't kill backline on Seraph, on Fel, on Daedalus because Seraph, Fel, or Daedalus are on the floor you're trying to use Teeth of Gold to kill enemies with. And that's considered the backmost unit. To make Teeth of Gold better, you just have to remove that contingency. You have to make it so that flying units aren't considered as the backmost unit until Relentless. Void Binding Ember cost increased from 0 to 1. This is a fair change. Void Binding was really strong. This doesn't change much because you can still -1 double stack it, right? But now you have to give it a -1. And you don't even have to. No, you do have to give it a -1 because of the Ember Drain on it. That change is fine. I don't hate it. I don't love it. Cool. I didn't really think Void Binding... I guess, nah, Void Binding is a really strong card. I just am not the type to force runs that play with it, because the way you force a run that plays with it is you restart Umbra until you get it as your starting card. Alright, Umbra changes are fine. Shadow Siege change boggles my mind, but also I know why they're doing it. And the morsel changes are cool. Right on. Melting Remnant. Gameplay. Big Sludge Rage gain on Harvest increased from 2 to 5. This is more like it. Big Sludge is a lot more pickable now. 5 is a much more reason. Having him gain 10 attack instead of 4 every time a unit dies is cool. Right on. Excellent. Bounty Stalker attack gain reduced from 10 to 8. Sure. Yeah. Cool. That's fine. You want to nerf Bounty Stalker? This isn't a nerf that's going to make me hate him, but it's definitely a hit to his efficiency. You just have to give him Endless or reform him a lot of times and hit his breakpoints, right? His breakpoints, of course, being 105 and 190, which shouldn't be too hard. It's a little more difficult, though. Devourer of Death's subtype is now Wickless instead of Tomb. Okay. I mean, this makes him... Wait, he's Wickless. He's not Waxer. What does this change? This makes him not get health from Melting Spout? Alright. Sure. I suppose. I guess. I mean, there's something else, right? There's another reason to make him wickless, right? But there isn't, because votive key is waxer, not wickless. What a weird change. What a like this has to be a flavor change, right? Because like unless they're changing melting spout down here, they must be changing melting spout. Okay, they have to be changing melting spout. That's what this change must mean. Because otherwise, this is worthless. I will come back to this change when I read the change they're doing to melting spout. Dripfall Ember cost reduced from 2 to 1 and now applies dazed 1. This is incredible. What a huge buff. Dripfall is so much better. Dripfall was already pretty good at 2 cost. It was a card that was like, do I pick this, do I not? This is great. Now the dazed 1 will apply to your own units, but that's no big deal. Dripping enemy units and dazing them one time is sweet. Being able to move your own units for 1 cost is sweet. That's great. I love that change. I didn't know that was coming either. Like that's a great, I did not expect that at all. Engulfed in Smoke Ember cost increased from 1 to 2. Sure, this is a very fair nerf. Engulfed in Smoke is one of the strongest cards in the game. This is a card that I agree with an Ember cost increase like this. -1 double stack, -1 holdover, instead of double stack holdover being it, right? That's fine. Entombed Explosives extinguish damage increase from 35 to 50. This makes them a lot more viable on Covenant 20, or yeah, on Covenant 25, and I guess like Covenant 23 when the heavies get the higher health. Lets him one-shot all of the 45 health heavies and half health all of the heavies in floor 2, which is meaningful. I don't know if I'll be picking him, but Melting Spout now adds Burnout 1 to Tombs in addition to the health gain. There it is. There it is. Melting Spout's a lot better now. Because, so what this does now is it basically makes it so that your Tombs get to tank around and then die. That's a lot better. Yeah, wow. I mean, Melting Spout before was just really bad. So this now ensures that your tombs die and lets them take a round for you. And that's why they changed Devourer of Death from Wickless to Tomb, because, or from Tomb to Wickless, because him burning out would be really shitty. Okay, cool. That's a good change. Melting Spot's a lot more pickable now. I feel like you can, like, these tomb changes are really nice. I see that they're buffing Molten Encasement as well. Stealth on Death increased from 1 to 2. So Molten Encasement plus Melting Spout plus an Endless on Molten Encasement, or sorry, Molten Encasement. Molten Encasement is a combo of Molten Encasement and Imp of the Molting variety. But anyway, this is a really strong combo now if you get that with Endless. That's cool. I like that a lot. I'm down with that. Right on. Paraffin Enforcer Rage gain on strike increase from 2 to 3. I'm still not picking him. I still think he's bad. Don't give me that. No. just not. Accumulator buff to add attack at each level, starting with +1 at level 1. Accumulator is the harvest one, so he's going to be gaining +1 +5. So it's probably +1 +5, +2 +10, +3 +20, or probably +4 +20. Dude, that's sweet. Holy shit, Harvest Vector is pickable now. Now, unfortunately, he's not going to have the same synergy with Umbra because of the change, but still, him getting some attack scaling is really good. He no longer has to rely on a backliner to help him. Now, +1 attack isn't going to be a huge amount of scaling. He's still going to need something behind him, but getting a, like level 3 +4 +20, he's probably going to reach a point where he just solos bosses. He's kind of like Gorge Penumbra now. Cool, I like that. He's like the inverse of Gorge Penumbra actually. Right on. Burn Bright Path stats down from 60-60 to 50-50 and down from levels 2 and 3. I knew that this was going to happen, and I was just hoping this wasn't going to be a change that makes Burnout unplayable, and this is not a change that makes Burnout unplayable. In the early game, him losing 10-10 does not change anything. He still one-shots 45 health heavies, he still lives through the first 3 combats okay. All this really changes is his ability to 1v1 Daedalus, which is important. Losing 10 health and 10 attack against the relentless Daedalus is rough. But that being said, down slightly at levels 2 and 3 is probably going to be, he's probably going to go from, because what is it? It's 60-60, 85-85, 170-170. He's probably going to be like 75-75. Like, the changes don't change much because he still needs help in levels 2 and 3 to kill heavies, and he still solos level 1. So I think that he's about the same. And then finally, Dark Calling reforms 2 units per turn at all levels, adding bonus attack and health at levels 2 and 3. Oh no, just bonus attack. Sorry, I just assumed it said health there. Cool. I'll have to play with it to see if it's pickable. Probably fine, I would say. It's probably fine. Yeah. Like, I don't know if I'd be picking that over either of the other two. I think it's still not a pick, but maybe there's a situation where you take that. Reforming 2 units per turn is a lot. So, like, playing him middle floor and just reforming 2 dregs every turn in the early combat sounds okay. But we'll see. Remnant Host Ember cost reduced from 1 to 0. Right on. Remnant Host was already, like, okay, and now he's a little better. Tomb units now have 1 health, so that they can die. Cool, because as we've established many times when talking about Melting Spout, what you want your tomb units to do is die. Cool, cool. Votivary Ember cost reduced from 1 to 0. Oh, that's sweet as well. Votivary is just like an auto pick now as long as you have Harvest synergies. She was only hard to play for that 1 Ember cost. Good change, sure. I didn't really think Votivary needed it, but that's still fine. Votive Key now applies Endless to the first unit summoned each turn. Wait, that's insane. Right? Holy shit, that's out of control. What? If you get that, you just get to put Endless on Burnout Rector always. Wait, that's so nuts. That relic just jumps from, like, actively hurts you to really strong. Ow. Wickless Baron attack gain increased from 1 to 3. Holy shit, he's a carry now. Dude, Wickless Baron's sweet. Yo, Wickless Baron plus Accumulator Rector. It would be terrible because you don't have much space to have your units die on your side, but if you're killing enemy units, they're going to scale like crazy. It's a good idea, but you're going to need a way to hit backline. That's a nice change, though. I thought Wickless Baron doing 1 attack scaling was ridiculous. Wickless Tycoon base stats increased from 320 to 1025. They really buffed Wickless Tycoon? That dude was, like, insane. And now he's even more insane. Cool. So, closing thoughts on the Melting Remnant changes. I'm just scrolling down to see what else is down here. I'm not going to read through this stuff because this video is actually 40 minutes. I said I was going to try to keep this short, but there's a lot of changes here. I only saw this part, and I was like, okay, so we're probably going to be able to get through this pretty quickly, right? Only like 6 changes here, 9 changes here, and then you get down here, it's like, oh, 13 changes to Umbra, 18 changes to Remnant. Holy moly. Closing thoughts on the Remnant changes is, like, Remnant just got way stronger, and they were already really strong, I think. Like, all of these changes are good. With the exception of Paraffin Enforcer, I still don't care about Paraffin Enforcer. He has systemic problems that don't get changed by number tweaks, whereas Big Sludge had just a number problem. Molten Encasement had a number problem. Dripfall had a cost problem. These changes are good, and Votive Key is a lot better. Votivary is a lot better. The Baron and Tycoon are a lot better, and they were already pretty okay. Sweet. I like all of these changes a lot. I'm glad that they're making big changes. This is my closing thoughts. Despite some of these changes I don't necessarily agree with, Gifts for a Guard nerf, the Shadow Siege nerf, things like that, I still am glad to see big sweeping changes, and I hope that they continue to, like, tweak things as time goes on. I hope that this beta period allows them to see some of these changes and go, alright. And don't forget, just pick Shadow Siege whenever you see him and tank his win rate for me. Thank you for watching. I'll have a link to this in the area down below. It outlines how to get into the public test beta. From now until it releases, I'll be in the public test beta playing on this patch. All of my videos from here on will be in that, which is why I wanted to make this video as well, so that you don't go, hey, what the fuck is going on with all these changes? If you enjoyed, feel free to leave me a like. Subscribe if you want to see more. I'll be playing these changes live. I don't know when this video is going up. It's probably going up around... I'm probably just going to put this up as soon as I can. So starting with tomorrow's videos. Today's video is going to be on the old patch, and then tomorrow's videos will be on this patch. Subscribe if you want to see those. I will see you in the next one. I hope you have a good one. Later.